All right, good morning, everybody. So today we're going to keep going with fish and shellfish. We're going to go over basically amphibians. So two things that are popular in the United States and in Asia are frogs and snakes. I was going to go over turtles, but I thought that might be a little too graphic for you guys. So without further ado, let me share screen with y'all. Okay, so what we're going to start with are so this is, let me just show you these things in the way. It says frogs. Well, it says snakes and frogs. I don't know where the snakes part went. Catching, cleaning, and cooking. So typically in the US, there's two types of snakes that we eat. Rattlesnakes, which are a big popular one. There's a video on here on that. And another one is a lot of people started having Burmese pythons as pets and realizing they did not want them. And they kept letting them loose. And this mainly took off in Florida because it's like the perfect conditions and climate for it. If you let a python loose up here in like Indiana, it would die. Like right now, it'd be dead because there's nowhere for it to hide and burrow, and it's just too cold. But in Florida, in the Everglades, they've taken over. So people hunt those and eat them too. This one, the frog, many countries eat these. French style frog legs are probably one of the most famous ones, but I'm going to show you how they catch these, how they clean them, and how they cook them. So let's get going. Okay, so the first one is how to catch the bullfrogs. I'm sure there's farm raised ones. They're not, I've had frogs before. I didn't eat them, but my kids used to have them as pets. We'd catch them around here and keep them inside. And they're actually pretty cool animals. But this video is to show you how to catch them and eat them. So let's go.
When
I'm
you
just going to
have
skip
teal
forward a little
season and
bit
you
too
go the whole
because
season
this takes a minute.
and you never get a front and you hear bullfrogs in the background, you make the most of them. Bullfrogs way better eating than a teal. When you have teal season and you go the whole season.
So I'm just going to talk to you real quick. The way they do this, I don't know if you can hear the video very well. They hunt bullfrogs at night because that's when frogs typically come out. I mean, if you have one, they will come out during the day. But what they do is they drive down the riverbanks. You can hear bullfrogs around here all the time too. If you live near a pond at all or a creek, they sit on the riverbank and that's where they hunt from. That's where the bullfrogs hunt from. What these guys do is sometimes a lot of animals, when they get a bright light shined on them, especially deer and everything else, it stuns them because they don't know what that is. So what he does is you're going to see them trolling down the middle of this little lake, and it's going to be super slow. And he's going to look for like the reflection, or he knows how to spot these frogs like on the side of the bank. And you'll see how he does it. He literally just jumps after them.
Don't scare every frog.
Okay. So here he goes.
Size of this sucker. I'm gonna tell you something. Monster. Monster. You worried about them teal now?
No.
I ain't worried about them
No.
teal.
Gigantic frogs.
All right, on three. Three. Up. Go ahead. Go ahead. Can he not hear?
Yeah, this motor's acting up.
Well, I told you this is not the motor we need. Oh, Phil's done created a frog haven out here.
All right.
What's that? Is that a
Yeah,
frog way up on the bank? It sure is.
He sees them, like they just go so slow, and he spots these things. I don't know how he does it, but he spots these things. They keep the light on it. They go in slow. He just sticks his head over the side of the boat and grabs it. So that's how they catch the frogs. And look how big that is. That thing's huge. If you guys didn't know, frogs are carnivorous. Well, not carnivorous, I'm sorry. They are meat eaters, or omnivores. That's the word I'm looking for, not carnivores. No, they might eat each other. I don't know. They're omnivores. So what happens is these things will hunt you know, I think they'll eat stuff out of the water, but typically they eat meat. So I think they're omnivores, but they eat bugs, fish, small animals, like they'll eat mice, anything they can get into their mouth, they will eat. But I think they eat some sort of, maybe they don't. Maybe they're just carnivores, not carnivores. Yeah, I'm thinking it. Anywho, so that's how they hunt these things. So we're going to move on. And I've had frog legs before. They're actually pretty good. So this is how they prepare these. You only eat the leg. This is pretty graphic.
All right. Today we're going to be cleaning some frogs. We caught last night. I've already dispatched them. Pellet right between the eyes. Right between the eardrums, rather.
He did stab these. These things are dead. So
knocks them out pretty cold.
you'll see in a second.
Knife,
That was kind of creepy.
make a cut right above the legs. Take your pliers. Just pull the skin right off. They'll still be kicking around a little bit due to nerves and whatnot, but for the most part, that shot between the eyes makes them stay fairly still. I cut that. I don't mess with that. Throw that in there.
All right,
Now,
so
a lot of people like the
that.
feet. I do not.
Yeah.
So I just cut them off. Throw them in with the rest of the no good
There you
stuff.
go. Frog legs.
And there you have delicious frog legs. Put those in.
Yeah, so he just keeps doing it. Cleans all these. They're not bad tasting. To me, they're kind of, I don't know, they're kind of hard to describe. It literally tastes like chicken, but a little more chewy because these things have very powerful legs. So they have a lot of muscle in there. But yeah, so he cuts and cleans all these things. And that's the only part you eat. You eat the legs. And you can buy these at the grocery store, actually. So let's move on how to cook them. This first one is probably the most famous one. Is just deep fried. And then this guy shows you how to cook them on a grill. It's like char grilled.
Hello, my beautiful lovelies. Hi, it's Emmy. Welcome back. Today's video is sponsored by HelloFresh, a really simple, easy food delivery service that brings fresh food to your doorstep so you can prepare it to make fast and simple meals. So big thanks to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. And today I'm going to be cooking frogs. 2 frogs that I purchased in the frozen food section at my local Asian market. I've allowed these to thaw in my refrigerator. I paid $7.99 for them, so they were not inexpensive. And what I'm going to do is just prepare their legs. That is what's traditionally eaten. So before you get all squeamish about this, frog legs are eaten all over the world, including the US, France, all over Asia. Frog legs are consumed because they are delicious. I know it's a little bit odd for us to think of amphibians as a source of protein, but they are. Having said that, this will be the first time I've ever actually prepared frog. And so from what I've researched, you do have to be careful with frogs. They sometimes do carry salmonella, so treat this as you were treating poultry. Make sure you wash your hands very well and wash your cutting boards and knives very well with hot soapy water. All right, let's go ahead and prepare our frogs. There they are. Ingredient: frog may contain fish or shrimp. Interesting. Cooked before served. Thaw under refrigeration immediately before use. This is a product of Thailand, and these are farm raised. So now that our frogs are thawed and out of the package, we are now going to prepare them. This could be graphic for some, but this is just food preparation. If you are squeamish about removing skin off of things like chicken, if this bothers you, you might want to skip this part. All right, so let's prep our frogs. And we're going to cut right behind here, right here, through the skin. You're going to take a pair of pliers, and we're going to pull the skin off the legs. Okay, you're going to cut right through here. Dispose of this part. I know some people cut off the feet, but I'm just going to leave the feet on. And then you cut this part in half. So you have 2 legs. So one set I'll cut the feet off, and then one I'll leave the feet on. Now we're going to rinse these off and pat them dry. So my version of frog legs today are going to be a little bit Southern inspired. So I'm going to make a Cajun mix, which is really simple. You probably already have these spices in your cupboard already. Take 2 parts of salt, 1 part garlic powder, onion powder.
Okay, so she's making the seasoned flour and then a little buttermilk bath.
Add a little milk. So buttermilk is often used in recipes like this because it's been cultured. So there's a little bit of acidity in there and it helps to tenderize the meat. I don't have buttermilk today, so I'm going to be using a little bit of plain yogurt, but it will do a similar kind of thing. It's really great at tenderizing meat. Yogurt. So add a little bit of plain yogurt to that, and beat up the egg. To this, we're going to add a little bit of our seasoning mix. This is actually very similar to the egg wash that I used in my blooming onion video. So I've just got some all-purpose flour here, and I'm going to season it with the spice mix. I almost forgot to add black pepper. We need lots of black pepper in both of these. I love black pepper. First, we're going to take the frog's leg and put it into the flour. Get most of that flour off. This is just to help the egg wash adhere. Then back into the flour mixture.
So what she's doing is the typical dry, wet, dry battering, breading for frying. Actually, battering would be dry and then wet, then right into the flour, right into the fryer. But she's doing the typical breading technique.
Food right to your doorstep. You can order from 3 different types of meals. You can order the classic, accompanied with a lovely arugula.
Okay.
Your first purchase. Thanks, HelloFresh. So my oil is up to temp. We can test it with a little bit of flour. It immediately sizzles. And let's cook our legs. Got a nice sizzle there.
So if you were to put these things in and that oil's not hot,
We don't want to overcrowd our pan, but since I've only got 4 legs, I think I'll be all right. All right, wash my hands. All right, let's give these legs a turn. Oh, yes, these are looking beautiful. Gorgeous.
okay.
So our frog legs look just about done. And pull them out. Trim this off. Oh, these look beautiful. To cover our oil, wait to taste them. So here are the ones with the feet still attached. The ones.
All right, so to make sure they're done, frogs, most things that live in stagnant water too, you want to make sure that you wash these things really well. I would cook these things like chicken, cook them to 165. I'm not sure the exact temperature, but a lot of these animals, especially reptiles, are known to have salmonella, lizards, stuff like that, it's naturally on their skin. Frogs are pretty nasty too. So any part of that, like you got to wash them, clean them, wash it again, cut them, wash it again, because they can get chemicals in them that are just naturally on their skin. It's a protective thing for them. So here's the next one where he grills the legs. These look, I like fried ones too, but grilled looks good.
Just use one of my favorites, Zatarain's Creole seasoning, and garlic powder, and a little pepper. So here we go.
So he's gonna season. I like this one because he's gonna season everything real nice, dried them off.
We get some pepper, black pepper. Okay, and the grill should be ready. It should be hot because we did grill some Cajun pork chops earlier. Now we're going to do these.
There you go, right on the grill.
We're just going to do a few at a time on top of the fire. The rest of them will be off the coals, and we will rotate them as they cook. We'll get the ones that we done grilling, and we'll rotate.
You can probably hear this, barely hear this guy. So he's gonna light them up on the grill. He's using a charcoal grill, as you can see. Probably one of the best flavors you'll get. Basically, he's going to cook these things. Like I said, almost cook them like chicken legs. You want a good hot grill so it gets a nice sear on them, and then he's going to check them. He's, you know, a lot of people do this too. I don't know if you know, have ever seen this, but sometimes people will do like their own little vinegar mixture or apple juice or apple cider, and you just give them a nice little spritz glaze on there while they're cooking. And then it's going to come back, turn them. And I'm going to play it so you can hear.
Right here.
There you go.
That's already done. Pop them again with olive oil. Coming apart. Out of my food. Got the coals on one side.
So he didn't take a temperature of them, he just tries one. So that's always a way to do it too. But with these, always, I mean, with all your proteins, if you have a thermometer at your house, take a temperature of stuff, just because it's just the safest way. A lot of times, like what he had there, I don't think he cleaned these himself, so you're a little safer. If they're cleaned and prepped and in an environment that's like sterile, you know what I mean? Like if it's done in a factory, it's a little safer. If you have the whole frog, even the ones she had, they might be a little cleaner because they came from a store. But if you're catching these things yourself, make sure you clean and cook them all the way through. But I think he said, I could hear him in there. If you heard it, he said he cooks them until they start to fall apart a little bit. So that means they're pretty much done. Okay. The next part, there's your frogs. So I don't know if you guys ever had frogs before. I've had them a couple times. They're not bad. They're pretty good, actually. So let's go to the next one is snakes. People eat snakes all over the world. So if you think about it, snakes are meat eaters. If you've ever seen how snakes eat, I didn't put any of those videos on here because it's pretty graphic. But what these guys do is they go out and they're hunting a rattlesnake, which is a very popular one in the United States. And from what I've read and heard, rattlesnake is the tastiest one that we have around here. But if you think about how a snake's body is, it's one giant muscle pretty much. So I could see how it'd be pretty good eating. And then this one is a street food, like a street vendor, like how we have hot dog carts. This one is Japanese street food where they're selling venomous snake. So let's go.
This is what you're going to watch out for, these things. See that? That's where the fun is. Hypodermic needles inject you full of nasty stuff.
So we're about looking around and we got ourselves a rattler.
Definitely. Welcome to Texas.
Welcome to Texas. Man, does that blend in with, you can't even see it, dude.
That's what the rattle's all about, is telling you that he's there. And you come and collect some firewood back here in this bramble. And that's how it happens.
Wild, man.
All right, you guys see it?
Look at that thing. So what, are we gonna eat that?
So to give you guys a heads up, rattlesnakes are all over Indiana. Well, not all over, not in the city, but if you go to Brown County, or you want to decide you want to go camping somewhere, hiking in the woods, they are here. So this is and they're very hard to spot. But anyway, I'm gonna let you watch. But they do have these around here.
Definitely.
Well, that's on the menu?
One long backstrap. Yeah. Rattlesnakes, regular trail food, man. That kept me going for a long time. It's good. Good meat.
And we all ready to go.
We've really pissed him off way too much if he comes after me. But
That's wild, man.
beautiful, isn't he? That's what it's like to be a couple feet away from a hospital visit.
I'm gonna skip some of this. Okay,
Proteins start messing with your body.
so
We're human.
There's the
We're
snake.
bipeds. We don't smell
Don't ever try doing this. This guy is
like something they want to eat. And so a
So,
lot of times when
yeah,
these
it
guys
just-
will bite
it's called a
unless you're
strike.
just messing with them like we're about.
It did a strike at his hat. What he's going to do is try to. I'm just going to show you. I didn't even show.
We're talking like 2 out of 10 times you'll actually get venom in you. If it was a dog, it'd be 9 out of 10 times. That dog's probably gonna die, or he's gonna be really messed up. As long as you can remove that head, get the nasty, pokey, venomous parts away that are gonna mess you up.
Basically, what these guys do is they'll take a stick, something very long, and once this thing gets tired out a little bit, they will push down, like push the stick, and usually have a pole with a grapple hook on it. They'll push down on the head, like they'll they'll put the stick long enough where they can compress the head down. Once you have it by the head, it's not as dangerous. Well, it's still dangerous. And what he's describing here is a lot of people think, oh, we got to just, cut the head off, because that's where it bites you. That is true. But he describes in this one, and I've actually seen these things. I've seen people hunt snakes. They still bite for about an hour. Like that head still chomps. So what he describes is he buries it. He'll dig a hole and just throw the head in there, and then or he'll just put it in the fire because it'll still bite you. Okay, so this is how they're gonna get this thing. They're gonna cook theirs over an open fire. So they're getting the fire going. Meanwhile, pretty much like a fish. Like you have to cut this thing straight down. It does have a belly. It has intestines. It has organs and all that stuff. Those are inside the wrapped part of the snake. So what he's going to do is go straight up the belly of it. Everything's always on the belly side. Remember that. So the lighter side, the darker side of the snake, or most fish, or most animals. Well, a lot of animals too. The lighter side is typically the belly, because the darker side is the camouflage. All right. So if that thing was laying upside down, you would see it really easy. But otherwise, since you have the camouflage on this side, if it's laying in this grass, it's hard to spot. So he's taking out all the stuff you don't want. That's what that is. That's the intestines, the guts, and everything. And then you see they're starting to pull the skin off. So they start from one end, just like it's shedding its own skin, and you just pull it straight back. And these things are still moving. I know it's kind of queasy, but they still, every animal's like this. It's still going to do that. It doesn't even have a head on it right now. All right, so let's speed this up a little bit. They're basically going to skewer it. I know I keep leaving.
Yep.
So,
That's a little snake kebab.
skewering it, put it on
Check
the
that out.
stick.
That is awesome. You're there.
Seasoning,
Boom. Sweet.
and then you're just going to cook it over the grill. So this is kind of a primitive way of cooking it. It's going to have heat and smoke to it. So if you've never had anything that's got, and you see how the coals have cooked down before they have that giant pile, you don't want that big pile with those big long flames on it. These coals, ambers and stuff, they are so hot. They're probably 600-700 degrees. That's where they get charcoal. That's what charcoal actually is. It's cooked down wood. So they're going to slowly cook this thing on top of it with a really high heat, and not as much like high flames. You don't want to cook something on a very tall flame because it's going to burn. And it's going to like make
Now
it
these things
hard.
are amazing. So most people know these tunas down here, these fruits.
So
This is
now
grocery
they're
food.
This is grocery food.
All right, man.
So
We're gonna collect the whole pile of it.
people pay for all your gloves. So the
So-
Glockids,
cactus.
It's gonna be a
Service
big thing.
with their snake.
Get them way down here.
Snake
Once
too,
it's in there,
same
and they
thing.
come out.
They came out.
Make
short
sure
one.
you
You've got-
get,
That took us about
cook it
half
all
an
the way
hour.
through.
That's a pretty good
Yeah.
return on.
Same, it's a wild animal.
They say they do.
You don't know if it has some sort of toxins in
we're
there.
burning off the Glockid, the nasty stuff, off of the fruit. Just look.
Anywho, so you don't know what kind of toxins that thing has been in. Here we're gonna go to where they're actually, and you don't know what it's eaten, okay? Because any wild animal, you make sure you cook that thing all the way through, because you have no idea what it's got in it. Okay, now here's the Japanese street one. This one's the There's a snake. They bought theirs. You know, it's already processed. Not processed, but it's not trying to. So he's going to show you how to clean it. Oh, this is Oh, Rory. You gotta clean. No, it's kind of gross. He's almost scaling it. Yeah. So if you rub against the natural direction of these things, they'll come off. Just like a fish, like the scales go back, but if you go forward, they'll pop off. See, in America, they just skin the whole thing, but the skin probably gives it a whole different flavor. All right, skip it forward. Oh wow. So look at all the muscle on that thing. So he kept the skin, boiled it. We'll see what he does with that. Oh wow, that's alive still. All right, let's skip to the cooking. All right, here we go. So he's cutting into pieces. This is the meat. It looks like he's just boiling them. Skim off the fat. So those are the cooked pieces. Let's see what he does with this. How do they turn it into a street food? Oh, they make a gelatin out of it. Oh, that's funky. Wow. So I've never seen this one all the way through. So they take snake to a whole new level of cooking. They make a stew with it. See the piece of snake? Wow. So this is the street food version, and they take a very snaky broth and then put it in there as well. But they serve it with the skin too. That's amazing. See, look at that. It almost looks like fish. Wow, there you go. So I've never seen that the way they've done that. So you have this way. This is how I've seen it in America. And then you have this way, which is that was a venomous snake too. So That's kind of amazing. So he actually skinned it, boiled the skin separately, and then made like a stock, like a snake stock, and then cooked it back in there. So they basically cook it till it almost falls apart, and then make a stew with it, and then serve it as is with the skin on and skin off pieces. That's amazing. And that was a venomous snake. Like what he was cutting up live there, I believe that was just the butcher, and then the person next to him was probably the person who cooks it. So I know there's two different ones, but so that's part of the fish and shellfish. Went into amphibians a little bit and snake. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and there'll be 4 questions for you on this one. Have a good day.